G'day guys, Dean from Blog for the Blood God here, and this video is going to be one of a three-part series where I'm going to be talking about various elements of the Chaos Space Marines and the Chaos Daemons Codex. In part 1, I'm going to be doing a detailed breakdown of the Night Lord's Legion, talking about their warlord traits, their relics, their stratagems, and some of the different combos that you can achieve using the Night Lords. In part 2, I'm going to be talking about how to combine Demons and Chaos Space Marines in the same list, regardless of what Legion you're playing. And then in part 3, I'm going to take these two videos, smash them together, and I'm going to talk about a very specific Night Lords list that combines elements from the first video and from the second video to sort of put it all together and show you guys how it will actually affect on the table. So with that being said, let's get straight into the video.
Blog for the Blood God.
G'day guys! In today's video we're going to be talking about how to combine Chaos Daemons and Chaos Space Marines together in a single army. So with the new Chaos Daemons Codex that's come out, we've been granted the ability to do this without losing the specific Legion traits that you get and the stratagems and all those sorts of things from the Chaos Space Marine Codex. Now, one of the challenges that a lot of people are having is that it's quite wordy and it's quite complicated on how you go about adding these two codexes together. What do you gain? What do you lose? How does it all work? So what I thought I'd do is I'd put together a video where I'm going to basically break down how it works first, and then I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why you may want to do this in your army, and some of the benefits and advantages that you gain from combining Chaos Space Marines and Chaos Daemons. So let's start by talking about the specifics of how it works. Before we talk about the specifics of how it works, we actually need to break down some of the fundamentals of some of the keywords, what they mean, and what interactions they have with each other. So we're going to break down all of these different keywords specifically for the Chaos Space Marine Codex. Then we're going to break down all of the keywords in the Chaos Daemons Codex. And then we're going to look at the specific rules on how these work together. So when looking at a Chaos Space Marine, you need to note that a Chaos Space Marine detachment is one that only contains Traitoris Astartes or Agents of Chaos units. A Legion detachment is a Chaos Space Marine detachment where all Legion units have the same Legion. Then you can only unlock Legion-specific relics if your listed warlord is from that Legion. If you spend command points to give a non-warlord character a warlord trait, you can gain one from their Legion, even if your listed warlord is not a Chaos Space Marine. And access to secondary objectives, relics, warlord traits, and army-wide rules are not impacted by including Agents of Chaos, and they are unlocked by including a Chaos Space Marine detachment. Alright, so those are the specifics on how a Chaos Space Marine detachment works. Now it's important to note these things because the way that they interact with Chaos Daemons is actually kind of different. So they don't, a lot of the rules on how you unlock warlord traits, for example, isn't the same for Chaos Space Marines as it is for Chaos Daemons. Now let's go through some of the Chaos Daemons fundamentals. A Legiones Daemonica detachment is one that only contains Legiones Daemonica or Agents of Chaos units. If you only contain Legiones Daemonica detachments, and you take a greater demon, it must be your listed warlord. This does not mean that if you do not, you cannot. So in a mixed army, you can have a demon warlord, or you can have a Chaos Space Marine warlord. If you do take a demon warlord, you may give it relics and warlord traits. However, if you do not, you cannot. So it's worth considering making your demon your warlord. The Warp Storm is only available to armies where every unit has the Legiones Daemonica or Agents of Chaos keyword. Demon stratagems are unlocked by including demon units, not detachments like with the Chaos Space Marines. If a Legiones Daemonica detachment contains no more than 25% of your army's total power level, they gain the Agents of Chaos keyword. So basically the way it's going to work is if you want to include demons in your Chaos Space Marine list, they have to become Agents of Chaos. In order to become Agents of Chaos, they need to be in a Legiones Daemonica detachment, and that detachment needs to contain less than 25% of your power level. So basically the way it works, when looking at a mixed Chaos army, you can give Legion characters warlord traits and relics. However, Legion-specific relics are only unlocked by a Legion-specific warlord. You can give Legionis Daemonica characters warlord traits and relics, but only if a Legionis Daemonica character is your listed warlord. You can use the secondary objectives available to Chaos Space Marine armies and the Chaos Space Marine legions. You are not permitted to exceed the 25% of your total power level in Legionis Daemonica units/detachments. You are not permitted to use the Warp Storm section of the Demons Codex. And you are not permitted to mix Legionis Daemonica and Traitoris Astartes in a Chaos Space Marine detachment, as to unlock demonic allies, all Legionis Daemonica units must be from a Legionis Daemonica detachment. And you are not permitted to use the secondary objectives available to Chaos Daemons armies. It's worth noting when looking at this that the restriction of 25% is based on power level. So what this means is that if you take a unit with a points cost of, say, 530, that would be over your 25% if it was based on points. But depending on the power level of the Chaos Space Marines you take, and the power level of this unit, it might actually fit within that 25%. So it's worth noting that it's based on power level. Now, most units, when they're released, have a power level and then their points cost is roughly 20 that. So something that's power level 10 is going to cost roughly 200 points. That seems to be the metric that GW use for balancing power level and points costs. However, it's worth noting that with the balance updates and the data slates and all the points cost changes and all the shit that GW do to keep the game balanced in that sort of rolling update model that they have, sometimes they will increase or decrease the points of a unit quite significantly, but they never really go around changing power levels, which basically means that there will be situations where there might be a unit that's worth more than 20 times its points compared to 20 times its power level in points. And what you can do in this situation is units that have a power level that's really low but a points cost that's really high become more valuable in a demonic detachment because they take up less of your 25%, because that 25% is based on points, is based on power level, right? And the inverse is true for the Chaos Space Marines. If they increase the points cost of a Chaos Space Marine unit but don't increase its power level, well, that unit becomes now a liability because it's locking up a lot of your points, but it's not actually providing you with enough power level to offset your demons. So if you really want to try to maximize it because you want to try and get as many demons in your list as you can, you want to look for those units that have a really high points cost for demons and a really low power level, and units have a really high power level for Chaos Space Marines but a really low points cost. If you're running any Warp Locust units, like say a Master of Possessions, and you're moving him up into the center of the table, if your opponent tries to engage with that, you're going to be able to drop on them and do a 6-inch charge, which is really powerful. Being able to do this is going to be a really, really cool way of getting really reliable charges, which is why personally, and it's not just because of my collection, but partly because of my collection, I'm personally heavily gravitated towards Khorne Demons as your allied unit, because they can basically come in and do massive damage from that charge. You know, you can take really, really powerful characters, they can drop in and charge. You can take things like Bloodletters, which is a really cool objective secured unit that's going to be able to drop in, charge, kill something off an objective, and then have a 4-up invulnerable save when shot back. Really cool. You know, there's a really bunch of really cool Khorne shit. There's also some interesting stuff, like for example, the Slanesh Greater Demons, the Keeper of Secrets, can have a +2 to their charge as one of their exalted traits there. And if you're near a Warp Locust unit, you're getting really reliable charges there. So a Keeper of Secrets with that exalted trait is also a really interesting option here, and there's a ton of really interesting options in that book. So in the future, I'm looking to do potentially a masterclass video on each of the Chaos Gods and go through all of their different options and what is really good there. That will be down the track though. I want to finish my Chaos Space Marines masterclass first, so bear with me, but let me know in the comments, and if you really want me to push that up the schedule, hit me up on Patreon. This video has come out because of requests from my people on Patreon, so I definitely listen to what they guys have to say, and I really want to help out there and provide what I can. So this is my little TLDR sort of breakdown and tutorial on how to add Chaos Demons to a Chaos Space Marine list, some of the reasons you might want to do it, some of the ways that it can be done, some of the things you gain and some of the things you lose. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it informative. Now, it's worth noting, this is a very complex set of rules, so I may have gotten some things wrong here, so if I have, please correct me in the comments. I don't think I did. I was pretty thorough, but I'm also not the smartest cookie, so I often make mistakes. So let me know in the comments below if I fucked anything up, and we'll get a conversation going in there. So when you are watching this, quickly just scan through the comments. There's generally only 30 or 40 comments, just to make sure there have been no corrections, and I'll make sure that any corrections that do come through, I'll flag those comments to the top. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thank you for those who engage in the conversation in the comments. That's really where the value in these videos are. I come on, I share my thoughts, but every now and then you get a real gold nugget of information in the comments below. We've got a really, really strong community here, and I love the work that you guys do in the comments. So please continue to do that. Keep up the great work. And thanks again to all of those who support me on Patreon. This video is for you, and I endeavor to try to make sure that I'm generating content that not only are things that I'm passionate about, because that's where the value and the quality comes if I'm passionate about it, but also things that you guys are interested in. So I try to find that point where those two intersect, where it's something that you guys want and it's something that I can offer, and then I do it. So keep that up in the Patreon. That's where all of these sorts of decisions are made. So thanks for the Patreon guys. Your support means a lot to me. It's incentivized me and motivated me to put the upfront costs to buy new cameras, new microphones, new lighting, new equipment, and really go all in on this project. I couldn't have done it without you guys, so thanks again. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Look for the Blood God.
The Warhammer community suffers from some of the most prohibitively expensive essentials in the world, especially Australian content creators. Every single day, Dean wants to create content, but he can't. Suffering from old, worn-out brushes, expensive model kits, and costly software and equipment, he can't endure much longer. Just look at this dirty paint water. Would you drink this? Would you let your child? Even a small monthly donation can help provide Dean with clean paint water, basic tools for survival, and access to life-saving information and education. So please, follow the links in the description below and find out how you can sponsor a mad cunt like Dean today and end the suffering. Suffering that is cruel, unsustainable, and your fault.
Do your objective markers ever get lost behind terrain or other models and become difficult to see? Do they ever get bumped and accidentally moved during a game? And do they ever spark arguments about distances? Well, not anymore. Introducing the blog for the Blood God, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers. Made from the same material as astronaut suits, or maybe military equipment, or probably neither of those things, this 2mm thick neoprene synthetic rubber is tear resistant, water resistant, and is designed to last. But that's not all. The blog for the Blood God, not even remotely patented neoprene objective markers come in a variety of different designs and styles to suit any faction represented in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. These objective markers are a perfect gift for yourself or a friend, and are a perfect way to flex and show your opponent that not only are you a smarter, cooler, and better 40k player than them, but you also have more disposable income than they do. For the low price of $25, you'll get not one, not two, but 6 neoprene objective markers, perfectly designed for 9th edition Warhammer 40k. But wait, there's more. For a limited time only, people who sign up on Patreon to support Blog for the Blood God as a Skull Champion tier $5 per month member will gain access to a custom design service where I will design a unique logo to support their gaming club, like the one I did to the left here for the Potato Farmers local gaming club here in Melbourne. Follow the links in the description of this video to pick up your set today.